Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Absolute Rain podcast. My name is Accuracy, and I'll be your host today. We have a special guest. His name is Thiji. He's a renowned streamer amongst our organization. So, Thiji, feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings, everyone. In case you do not know who I am yet, I am an up-and-coming streamer on Twitch known as Thiji, as Accuracy just mentioned. I am a variety streamer with a specialization in MMOs and RPGs.
So, Thiji, one of the things I wanted to ask you today was, how did you first get started in streaming, and how did you come up with your whole personality of Thiji?
Well, about that, I'll touch on the Thiji part first. So, right around the PlayStation 2 era, when online gaming was starting to be a thing, the first online game I touched, or played rather, was EverQuest Online Adventures for the PlayStation 2. That was when I first created my the name Thiji. My first ever character was a Dark Elf Necromancer, and the last name Higuri came from an anime known as Inuyasha. It is a gene splice. It is a name splice of the family that Kagome is a part of. As for how my streaming business started, it actually began about a year or so ago when I was playing Life is Feudal with another clan known as the Spartan Legion. One of its members, whom I was very good friends with, or still am, was very intrigued by how I carried myself in voice chat, and she suggested that I take up streaming. So I decided to do just that. I had started small with stuff like Overwatch and other titles, until I eventually came upon Monster Hunter World, which is now my flagship game of choice.
What is Monster Hunter World exactly? Because I've never had the chance to play it. I don't get the chance to play many PC games anyway, so.
Well, Monster Hunter in general is an action role-playing game created by Capcom, and it is essentially a game where you are a hunter who's usually tasked with defending a village from like these super powerful creatures of various shapes and sizes. Like, there are a whole bunch of different creatures out there, from like wyverns, sea creatures, like sea leviathans, and even dragons. But you usually don't fight those until around endgame.
Okay, because from what I had picked up while watching your stream was it looked a lot like dinosaurs, and so I wasn't sure if that's what it was or what they were.
Yes, a lot of the creatures are inspired, in fact, from actual fauna in the real world.
It does seem like quite the game to play. So all that being said, your stream has its own personality aside from just you as Thiji. Your stream, I assuming you would call it your kingdom of Hyoga.
That is correct.
So, for those who don't know, can you give us a little tour of Hyoga?
Sure, I can provide some details. Let us see. In a land far to the north lies a realm where peace can be felt amidst the Arctic breeze. The large continent known as Hyoga, yes, it's actually a continent, is located in the northernmost portion of the world known as Elementa, which was created by myself and 3 of my brothers during our middle school days. It is a land of wintry wonder filled with snow and northern lights as far as the eye can see.
That sounds quite peaceful.
Indeed. The inhabitants of Hyoga are well known for their gracious and hospitable nature, welcoming outsiders with open arms and helping those in need.
So you've built this continent, and you said as far back as middle school?
That is correct.
That's pretty insane. I that sounds like a well thought out person. I've never had a streamer that I've seen with such an in depth view on everything, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was glad to help divulge some of it for you. Um, we're still building on the world and its lore, but we have a good grasp on how things go.
So with that being said, what are the long term goals of Hyoga?
Well, the modus operandi, or MO for layman, for Hyoga is to assist other smaller streamers in making it in today's world. Because, as we all know, it's not easy starting out as a streamer, especially when you don't have any support groups from the get go.
Yes, like no solid network. That is currently what I'm still working on. Is just trying to meet new streamers and talk to new people. It, it's
Precisely.
def- it's definitely one of the hardest parts of streaming.
Yes.
So, with that being said, what is the difference between Hyoga and Yukigakur? Gakur?
Yukigakure. Um, so, as I mentioned before, Hyoga is actually the continent. Yukigakure is its capital. And
Okay,
that's
okay.
usually where the stream takes place.
So you stream live from Yukigakure
Yes.
within the continent of Hyoga,
Bingo.
which is this amazingly sounding wintry wonderland, and like basically like it's kind of sounds like Norway.
Yes, to put it in a real world perspective.
Sorry, I don't mean to pull it out of that. I just
No, I think
trying to
it's
give a
fitting.
nice synopsis of it.
No, I think it's fitting.
So, that being said, your continent is growing quite rapidly. You blew up in the month of December. You went from I believe it was like 3 to 4,000 followers, and now you're up to 8K.
Indeed, it was quite the shock. I was quite shocked myself.
So how did that happen? Like if you don't mind diving into that a little bit.
Hmm. Well, I know that, of course, being a streamer, like on its own, is difficult, and standing out from the rest even more so. So, I suppose part of my success would have to come from the fact that when I'm playing certain games, I like to I'm actually the character in which I'm playing. So I like to immerse myself as if I'm the one actually doing the movements, doing the attacks, taking the hits, stuff like that. That eventually took the notice of some bigger streamers. Can I disclose their names
Oh yeah, feel free to shout out who you want to shout out or say what you need to say.
here? Yes, it eventually reached the eyes of certain big time streamers such as PokeLols and XQC, and after which, some of my clips even made it on Reddit, which also gave me some much needed exposure. So that also contributes to my blowing up.
So yeah, I've heard Reddit can be quite good for that kind of thing. But so I don't know who PokeLols is, but I do know who XQC is. I believe he was like a big time Overwatch streamer, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. I believe.
But then there was like some controversy or something that happened.
Yes.
But from what I've seen of him, because some of his YouTube videos have popped into my recommended feed as time went on, and he seems like a pretty swell person.
Yes.
Plus, we have the same kind of hair, so I can't.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't discount him at all.
Pokelos
So,
even. Oh, sorry. I said Pokelos even went on as to call me the new god of Twitch, but I'm still just an affiliate. I'm trying to remain modest.
well, that being said, I know you were trying to apply for partnership back in as early as October. I want to say September, October.
Around that time
So,
frame, yes.
So, do you think now that you're like, I think you're secured for it. I don't foresee it not happening, but your own personal belief, like, do you think you've got partner secured with this new exposure?
So long as I can keep this momentum going, I think I'd have a good shot. Have to count on Twitch to do the rest.
See, I'm fairly excited because I watched you just go from like you already had like a super high viewer average for most people. You were sitting at 130, whereas like Soar Max, the owner of Soar Gaming, peaks at like 50 on a regular basis. Every now and then he'll get a decent raid, but you were beating his numbers before. Now you're averaging like 400 a night, no problem. So how does
It
that like
depends.
feel?
I'm honestly, well, first I'm very humbled to have received such praise from big time streamers, but I honestly feel, well, just happy to put on a show for my audience, and I pray that I can continue doing so in the future.
With that being said, are your long term for yourself? Do you plan on carrying this out, or is there like, do you want to go to school or have a specific career field that you wanted to pursue aside from streaming, or do you think that if this is working out, this is what you're sticking with for the ride?
Alright, I still have plans on continuing my degree in computer science. I have some credits in that program. Though it would be nice to do streaming full time eventually.
I know that's the reason why everybody streams normally, but at the same time, it seems like you've just got you just enjoy it a lot. It seems like you didn't get into it for it to be a job. You got into it because it's something that, like you said, a friend of yours recommended, and it just turned out to be really fun for you.
Indeed, because I figure that we're basically putting ourselves in front of a big screen television, so we're more or less entertainers. And what do entertainers do? Put on a show for their audience.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen anybody as just active while streaming as you. Like, you have your ninja who will do a dance or something like that, but like when you're in a fight with a monster, as I've seen a couple of times, I would be scared to be standing behind you.
I would do my utmost to not hit you, I promise.
But I have seen quite the lunges while you're sitting down, which is quite impressive. As
And that's just for me sitting down.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I don't think I can do that anymore.
I eventually hope to move to a much larger space where I can do full animations.
Well, there we go. See, little bit of disclosure here is so you have plans to eventually have a larger like studio area.
Oh, precisely. Absolutely, yes.
So with the growing stream, what are some changes you might be looking forward into making as you grow?
Changes?
Like such as the larger space for movement, or you know anything that you have plans of swapping in and out, if you can disclose any of that.
Um, hmm. Let's see. Well, I have a green screen. Just don't have the space at the moment to actually utilize it fully. So that large room I mentioned before would be a good advantage. Um, there are certain weapons that I have been asked repeatedly to play, but given my current given my current space, wouldn't be very fruitful for me to do.
So are you planning on with the added space and everything like that, you are planning to become a even more involved community member?
Absolutely.
Well, that being said, how does fully immersing yourself in the role play a part in your stream? Like how did it all get started with you going into full character?
Let's see. Well, I know that ever since I held a controller at the age of 6, I was so fascinated by video games, but I never knew or I never imagined that one could actually make a living off of it. But I've always been a man or a young man that was full of energy growing up. Still am, not as much as before, of course, but I figured, I see a lot of streamers out there. They're just sitting in front of a camera, just doing their thing. Me, I figured I have all this extra energy. I may as well get into it. Actually, immerse myself in the game. And I've my biggest genre of games, or preferred genre, I should say, has always been role playing games.
See, I never got into many of the role playing games. My first long term game I can remember being heavily invested in was did you ever hear of a game called Ebony Online?
Oh yes, actually.
I had notebooks. This is in middle school. I had notebooks filled with coordinates of like NPCs and like I was leading an army of people and they
Good
had no
times.
idea that I was probably like a decade younger than whoever I was playing with.
And that's like the beauty of it, really. You don't know who you're with or who you're playing. Like who you're playing against, and then you actually like sometimes like they actually meet face to face in the real world, and like wow,
Yeah, you're not who I thought you were.
yes,
But no, yeah, so that is something that I have come to miss a lot lately. Is I feel like Fortnite's fun and all. It's a nice, enjoyable game, but like I don't have that community game where I used to like I used to have, where I was actually going through my contacts when I was looking for Icy's phone number because he's still asleep instead of co-hosting right now.
poor
But
boy.
I just deleted like 8 numbers from my old Xbox friends, and I haven't owned an Xbox since the 360, or like not played an Xbox. I have an Xbox One, but I gave it to my dad.
Oh well, I'm sure it's in good hands.
Yes, he's thoroughly enjoying it. But that being said, it was like I'm looking through, and I'm like, who's viral? Oh yeah, that's.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, so I've just got like I realized that I don't have that immersiveness in a lot of my games, and so I do find it very cool to watch your stream as well as I watch some art streamers who are very entertaining as well. So
Hmm,
shout out to them. Like the
indeed.
art community is pretty they kind of have to be super interactive. They're just sitting there doing the same drawing for 4 hours would be difficult to not be an interactive person.
Absolutely. I'm friends with some. I'm even friends with a few artists as well.
Oh well, it will. After the podcast, I'll have to show you one of them.
Sweet.
But so, how do you or like what tips do you have for somebody who's wanting to come up into streaming? Whether it be for how they develop their own personality or how they could grow or anything like that.
Hmm. Well, let's see. Usually, the tips I give for those that are aspiring to be a streamer would be to set yourself a schedule and to do your utmost to stick to that schedule. Consistency does help in regards to building your audience. Uh, let's see. Of course, establishing a network with other smaller streamers will get you what increases your chance of getting noticed as well. Because trying to connect with like bigger streamers or partners, they've already made it. Like that would just be hindering. That would be hindering you more than helping. So, teaming up or collaborating with other smaller streamers is the preferred option.
See, something that I've been doing lately is that I've also been really enjoying was in smaller streamer channels, not only just talking with the person, but if I really enjoy the person in the community is I'll, every now and then I'll drop some gifted subs and I'll chat with everybody. And then like later on I ended up gaining like 6 followers on Twitch the other day without even being live for a couple of days just because while I was too busy with work to stream, I was able to go into other people's streams and just chat with people. Didn't drop any links, didn't do any of that, but just the communication alone, they ended up following. And so now when I go live, I got another extra viewer or two who might stay, might not. You never know. But that networking when not live was something that I found to be helpful because I again enjoy the stream and the community. That I'm going to chat with them and get to know some of these people.
I concur.
So, how long did it take you to start getting to the point where you're at? Like, obviously, not this exact point as we just discussed. You kind of blew up and doubled in size over December, but before that, because I know you've been on this journey for a long time.
Yes. I've actually been, as of this month, been streaming for a full year. In fact, I actually joined Twitch in 2012, but I never really touched it at that point. I didn't know streaming was going to be such a huge thing, but
Regrets.
Indeed, right? Goodness. But as far as when, when it started blowing up would be, well, the first time I blew up was when I actually got on it. Around this time, when Monster Hunter World came out for the console, I actually reached as high as 1,000 viewers.
Oh wow! Straight out the gate.
Yeah. That was just as I was finishing the story. And it happened again. Yeah, that was like one of my biggest points. Another peak, I should say, was when Bless Online was coming out on Steam. I streamed that for like a whole. Did I say Steam or whatever? I streamed that for a full week, and that got me at least like a good 30 some subs and like 1,000. No, okay, I wouldn't say 1,000. That's exaggerating. Several hundred followers during that streamathon, I should say. And then, of course, my third and most prominent peak was my most recent Monster Hunter World, when the Behemoth came to the game, when it re-released on PC.
See, because you had it straight out the gate. You from what I can tell, that would also be one of my my big tips for anybody looking to stream. There's a website called Twitch Strike where if you like, because I play Fortnite because I enjoy it, I stream because I enjoy it, so I do the two together quite often. But I do eventually want to start streaming some other stuff and my editing and all that.
Absolutely.
But one thing I can recommend. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, because there are, right now, I think it's safe to say that Monster Hunter World is my flagship game to stream. I'm still looking for other titles out there as well. Just trying to keep away from the oversaturated ones like Overwatch. It's harder to get noticed when you're playing bigger titles.
And see, that's something that that this goes into is because though I know I'm playing one of those oversaturated games, I'm not trying to sell my soul to Twitch and just grind it out until I blow up from Fortnite. I just enjoy streaming and playing Fortnite and hanging out with some of the few people I have coming to stream.
I agree. Everyone seems to be laboring under that delusion too, that just you have to grind it out. But if you're actually enjoying yourself during your broadcast, you'll find that you'll be getting a much better reception.
Yeah, like I found there was this one guy who popped in a Razor stream who was like really hyping me up. And so I decided to go live, and then he hopped in my channel and gifted like 4 subs just because he's a really awesome guy. Shout out to Core Divisions, by the way.
Hey.
But that being said, this website called Twitch Strike will help you with if anybody wants to find out if their game is a good game to stream, quote unquote. You can basically look up your game and it'll give you a ratio of how many channels are live to how many viewers are watching those channels. And like a good ratio is about 15 to 20, because that's saying that the average viewers per channel is 15 to 20. Yes. And you want them with like a low top 5% have the viewers. So like, 10% of the viewers are watching the top 5% channels, because that means the viewers are spread more evenly amongst everybody. And if you can work that with the game that you enjoy, it should net some decent growth, which 20 viewers doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, but you don't necessarily need 5,000 viewers at a time. All.
Hell, 20 viewers is but 20 viewers is a big help for like the smaller ones or the people just starting out.
Exactly. And so that's what this website's just a nice little way to give you a okay, so Like, I want to stream chess. Chess has a good ratio normally. Chess is one of those things where not a lot of people can play it, but a lot of people find interest in it. So if
Yes.
you wanted to stream chess, then stream it. Why not? You'll get some viewers out of it and you'll enjoy yourself. But at the same time, if you want to just play Fortnite, then do that as well.
Indeed.
So, with all of your recent growth and exposure, like, how do you feel? Like, as of right now, are you still in that state of kind of like euphoria that came from? I know when it first happened, I'm sure you were quite ecstatic.
Yes, at first I couldn't believe it. Like, I think it was in Lush, who's also part of Absolute Rain. I think it was in it was in his channel. One Saturday in December, some random person came in and said that I was like, dude, like he said something along the lines of Thiji blowing up, and that I was hosting Lush at the time, and I was also in chat, so I was conversing with the guy, and at first I didn't believe it, but then he dropped a link. He wished for me, of course, and he told me that PokeLaws and XQC and all of them was looking at me because one of my clips was like on the top, was like one of the trending was in one of the top trending topics, I believe I should say, on what's that site, live stream fails.
On live stream fails.
I didn't think it was a fail, but I think it's still trending with like 55,000 views right now.
Jesus. What exactly happened with that?
Well, since as we already established earlier that I like to immerse myself, when I was playing Monster Hunter during that time, that was when Behemoth came out for the PC, because the console is like months ahead of us at the moment. But anyway, the Behemoth pinned me with his horns, grabbed my character, slammed me on the ground, and then just threw me across the freaking chasm. So what happened during that was I was actually reenacting that at like on screen as it was happening to my character. So I threw myself up my chair and fell on the floor. I'm pretty sure the thud was heard. I was okay, of course. It, like, the title was heavily immersed role player nearly dies on stream or something.
Oh, wow. Clickbait.
For real. that probably contributed to the amount of views, but hey, I'm not complaining.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do if you're on the grind.
Absolutely. Especially if it gets you noticed.
But that's actually like pretty awesome. That it was just something as simple as a clip you had already done, and it was just your normal stream, and somebody clickbaited it and got you the attention of some of these bigger streamers.
Oh yes, and he's been a good VIP ever since.
And so all that being said, I'm out of topics, but I think I've got a few more that I wanted to add on here.
Ask away.
Do you have any? Because I don't know if you've. I know we've talked about YouTube and some content and stuff like that in the past, but now you've more than doubled in size. You're talking about getting a bigger space. Do you have any plans to eventually branch into the, maybe because you said something about animation with like you're more acting out? Do you have any plans to branch out of more than just gaming and go onto YouTube with? Because I know you'll eventually put your gaming on YouTube as you continue to rise up.
Of course, because people are already putting content of me in like compilation videos.
Yeah, so like it's just one of those things that's a natural turn, is that you'll also have videos or highlights. Somebody will make your content for you.
Yes.
But but so that being said, do you have any plans of, with you being such a heavy interactive person on games, I could foresee you going into doing more stuff like skits or whatever that you would enjoy?
That was a plan that I had in the back of my mind, actually. I did want to take up voice acting. I thought that would be a nice avenue, and maybe actual acting. I also sing too, so yeah,
Oh,
I'm
well, I
all
would.
about I'm all about the fine arts.
Well, I would love to see some Thiji sings.
Indeed, I'm still on the waiting list for the Twitch Sings beta.
Oh, is that actually a thing?
Yeah,
I have. This is the first I'm hearing of it. So like that's. It's not like a me.
of course that shouldn't stop me from actually singing during stream, but
I don't think I've caught one of your streams where you've sung before.
there should be clips, and I always
Uh,
archive them. So
So what kind of music are you into with that? Like, what would you plan on doing if you did want to pursue singing on, whether it
well,
be YouTube or any other way?
I tolerate all forms really. I listen to country the least.
I can second that. Sorry, anybody who listens to country music.
Yes, no offense. It's good. It's just that most of them talk about the same thing. But regardless, um, most of the genres I listen to, or the ones that I favor the most, are K-pop, J-pop, and some techno. Though most of the music that I listen to are from video game soundtracks. I've even begun to make my own lyrics to existing tracks. There's actually a YouTube album on my channel for Final Fantasy XIV tracks that I've made my own lyrics to.
Oh, wow. So I'll have to check that out. And anybody who wants to check it out as well, Thiji, what is your YouTube channel?
It is the same as we've discussed, Thiji Higuri. The album is titled Songs of a Realm Reborn, or playlist, sorry.
So there you go. If you would like to hear some of the Thiji's own custom lyrics on top of, you said Final Fantasy,
Yes.
then feel free to go check that out. One last thing is, how do you feel right now? Like with everything going on, your Twitch blowing up, the podcast, all this exposure and bigger people talking about you. What are your thoughts on everything? Genuinely speaking.
Well, even though I've been doing this for a year, I wasn't expecting to blow up in such a considerably fast time frame. So, to be completely honest, I'm still quite humbled that I've been given such praise, and am glad to do what I can for my audience and for the other small-time streamers and groups out there, such as Absolute Rain and Girl Streamers Inc.
Is there any particular people or things you would like to cover before we start to close this out?
At the moment, I cannot think of anything worth of note.
Well, then I guess this will be the end of it. I appreciate you coming on, Thiji. So if you have any plugs that you would like to make, which I believe we've already covered them, but formal plugs, I know your Twitter could use some follows.
Always.
Like that is one thing I'm a little shocked about is that your Twitter is like still so unfollowed in comparison to your Twitch. Your Twitch is like
Yes, about that actually. That's a good point. Some of the small time streamers that I'm actually good friends with, they have like their follower count dwarfs mine. But I guess that's mostly due to the fact that my Twitter account is more recent compared to the other social media that I have a presence in.
oh, okay. Because I don't know what your other social medias are, so feel free to go ahead and plug it all. Is it all just DG?
Yes. I usually have there should be a banner on my Twitch channel. Most of my handles is just Thiji. I think my Steam, my YouTube, Twitch of course, Instagram. I think those have Thiji, and my Twitter is at Yukigakure.
All right. So everybody go follow Thiji on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Drop him some subscriptions on his Twitch channel. Let's get him by the end of 2020 staying at home, not having to do a thing besides stream all day and entertain all you lovely people.
That is a nice goal to achieve.
And if you would like to find the Absolute Rain podcast, you can do so at Rain Podcast on Twitter and on the Absolute Rain YouTube channel. It's just Absolute Rain. And we also have a SoundCloud if you would like to check us out on there. It's Absolute Rain. That being said, Thiji, thank you for coming on. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And this podcast should be up and ready to go on Saturday.
Thank you for having me, Accuracy. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. Winds of the North guide your path, and glory to Absolute Rain.